Never drink a whole bottle of Ever had a bathroom disaster? Here's my cautionary tale about why you should never drink a whole bottle of Pepto-Bismol. Okay, story time. At the beginning of the year, I got really sick. I had the worst stomach flu. I'm talking about explosive diarrhea every 5 minutes. Every time I took a dump, it felt like a mixture of number 1 and number 2 that can only be described as number 3, violently shooting out of my asshole at terminal velocity. Enough was enough. It was 6:00 in the morning on the 3rd day of my horrible flu experience, and I was already on my 7th shit of the day. I couldn't go on like this. I knew what I had to do. I limped over to my medicine cabinet, holding my violently gurgling gut, and downed a whole bottle of Pepto-Bismol. Oddly enough, as soon as I drank that bottle of Pepto, the gurgling slowly stopped. I felt pretty alright for the rest of the day, and was relieved that I could finally eat again without shitting myself. I was so hungry I pretty much stuffed my face with food all day. Then the next day came. When I woke up that morning, I felt like I had to take the biggest shit of my life. But this one was different from the flu shits I had endured. It felt solid and heavy, arguably more intimidating than the shits I had while I was still sick. But I knew I couldn't hold it in forever, so I decided to go to the bathroom and just get it done. I knew this one would take some effort to push out, so I got as mentally prepared as I could and began the push. I started slow and steady, but nothing happened. If I wanted to take this shit successfully, I was going to have to rev up the power a little more. I slowly started pushing harder and harder until I was pushing so hard I could feel the veins in my neck bulging out, and I felt like I was going to pass out. Finally, 2 hours into the ordeal, and after a terribly long bout of pushing, I finally heard a light squealing sound. It turns out there was a gas pocket behind the shit, and the squealing sound was a fart trying to leak out. I began to push harder, and I never could have prepared myself for what happened next. All I remember before I blacked out is hearing a sound like a potato launcher shooting, and a massive force pushing me forward into the bathroom wall. When I woke up, I was dazed. The first thing I noticed was that there was a dent in the drywall, where I must have smashed my head from being pushed forward with such force. The second thing I noticed was that the toilet was demolished. Something was odd though. There was no water anywhere. Next, I felt a burning sensation on my ass cheeks. It felt like I had been burned with a hot iron. Then it came to me I had pieced together the events that had ensued before I blacked out. The pressure of the gas behind the shit had built up so much that when I finally pushed it out, it shot out with such force that it demolished the toilet. Even worse, the friction from the velocity at which the shit shot out created so much heat that it left third-degree burns on my ass cheeks and evaporated the water in the toilet. I started getting dizzy again, so I stumbled over to my bed, intending to lay down for a bit. But still, I guess I hadn't finished the deed yet because I tried to let out what I thought was going to be a little fart, and instead a flurry of small pebble-sized shit started shooting out of my ass at bullet speeds. They shattered my bedroom window and penetrated through my wall and into the hallway. Each shit bullet that flew out was agony. And I couldn't do anything to help myself. When it finally stopped, I was so physically and emotionally drained, all I could do was lay there in a puddle of my own tears with severely burned ass cheeks and a demolished toilet in my bathroom. It is now my conviction that I must share my story in hopes of preventing this from happening to anyone else. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I'm going to end this story by saying that I can't stress enough how important it is that you never, and I mean never, drink a whole bottle of Pepto-Bismol in one go.